Okay, so it's early spring here in Queen Elizabeth II Wildlands Provincial Park. Right now we're on Victoria Lake. We got up here through the Head River. There's a series of easy portages up to Crooked Lake, and after that things start getting a little rough. The river becomes really narrow and windy, lots of beaver dams. The water levels are iffy in some spots, but the portages are also pretty rough. Luckily for us, they were flagged a week before we got here, and we had to clear some of the portages a bit, make the path a little better for taking the canoe through. But the reward is these beautiful campsites on Wolf and Victoria Lake. This region is truly a canoeist paradise. I mean, we're just an hour and a half from the GTA, and we've got rugged canoe routes, rugged campsites, no real crowds around. There's a few hunting cabins and flying fishing camps around here, but other than that, the park is pretty remote up here once you get past Crooked Lake. Okay, so we're just portaging into Victoria Lake from a little small lake that we stayed at for our first night here. And we're just getting by a log jam and some small rapids. Now this portage is fairly rough. It's marked by some bright orange flagging tape, but we've had to clear some debris from our path here to make it a little more navigable. It's pretty straightforward though. This is a fairly flat one, but we've just kind of cut down some of this underbrush here. Luckily it's spring and there's not much in the way of underbrush, but I could see this being in the summer a very hard portage to do with all the plant growth. It's pretty straightforward, and you might be tempted to put in right after the rapids if you choose not to line up them like we did here. But don't be fooled, there's a log jam just to the north of us here. So we're here on the Ganaraska Trail in Queen Elizabeth II Provincial Park. This is actually the wilderness section. It's kind of winding around Wolf Lake right now. It's great if you're doing a day hike because we've camped on Victoria Lake actually, and we picked up the trail between the portage between Victoria and Wolf. It's about 25 meters, but the trail runs right through the middle of it. And you can take it around, walk in some campsites here on Wolf Lake. There's a lot of nice pine-clad points that make excellent campsites on this lake. So here we are on the Head River. We're just making our way down from Victoria Lake right now. Water levels are a bit low, but I think that's because of beaver activity in the area. There's countless beaver dams all over the place here. We've probably crossed about 8 on our way up here. And they regulate the water really well, but this is the type of river you'd expect to see moose on. It's very scenic, lots of mud flats. The problem is if you do this route maybe later in the summer, I'm thinking after August, you're going to have really low water levels up the creek, and you're going to have to be prepared to wade through some really gucky mud or some, swamp-like material. But the reward is 2 beautiful lakes up in the north part of the park here.